don't even know what episode. It doesn't really matter.
I think we're on episode 46.
I don't think it matters.
It probably doesn't matter. But let's just get started.
Okay.
Meanwhile at the Castle. We're Meanwhile at the Castle podcast.
Yeah.
And we're back. It's been 2 months.
2 long months. Did you miss us?
We missed us. And I think this is episode 46. And it is September 11th, 2019. And we are podcasting from our home, my home this time, in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm Queen Emily.
I'm Queen Deborah.
And here we are. We're queens of our castles, keeping the domestic arts alive. So we're happy to be back.
Welcome.
It has been a long time, but it's been a good, busy summer. And I know a lot of other podcasts have also had a long break. So it is what it is, and yet here we are.
And we move on.
And we have reached our 3-year anniversary, I believe, haven't we? Or we're coming up on it very close.
October.
I
believe it's October. Yes. October was 3 years.
I think it's September.
I'd have to go.
Either way, we're really close. I can't believe that it's been that long. That's kind of crazy, isn't it?
It is.
You
what a wild 3 years old.
You barely feel 3 years old.
Yeah.
Your makeup is super cute today, by the way. She's got pearls along her.
My daughter did that for
That's
me
so
today,
fun.
because we've been having lots of fun playing around with fun things on our faces.
I love it.
Not acne, just jewels. We're not having fun with the acne.
Oh, goodness. Well, it's been a wonderful and busy and hectic and amazing summer. And it's cooled off finally. So it's starting to feel like fall, although it's supposed to be almost 90 degrees again, I think,
Next
on
week, in a week.
Sunday or Monday, something like that. So, yeah, it's kind of...
We're fading into
crazy.
fall.
Yes, striping it in.
Yep.
A little bit at a time, right?
And I'm okay with that.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. I didn't think I would be. I've only cried a few tears over it, but
I've just been throwing a party.
I'm accepting the reality that the seasons change.
I have been so happy that it's fall. And I get what you mean, though.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't enjoy all of winter. I don't like the darkness.
That's all it is that
yeah.
I really love the sunshine and the carefree feel, the spirit of summer. I don't like being hot, though. And I don't like being cold. I want to be perfect.
Fall.
Yeah.
That's what fall is. It's perfect.
So I do like fall, but I cry because what's right after fall?
I know, and especially here, sometimes fall is like a 2-week period.
Yeah.
We go from like 90 degrees to snow in a very short amount of time. So, I mean, I'm exaggerating.
So what's been going
really.
on in your life? Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was done. We have completed this year's Heroic Youth Summit, and it was amazing. It was so wildly successful this year, and it was extremely hot, and yet somehow just miraculous and amazing and exhausting and just fabulous, though.
And if you don't know what Emily's talking about, you can go to heroicyouth.com and you can see the nonprofit organization.
Yeah, .org.
.org,
Yeah.
Sorry. Wait, when did that change?
When we officially became a nonprofit this year. So, yes.
So you can go there and just see a little bit more of what she's talking about. And you can also look on Facebook at the Heroic Youth organization page, where you'll see lots of pictures. And that's really cool.
Oh, it's just amazing. So, but if you've been with us for a while, we've talked about it off and on for years. So, then you may already know what we're talking about. So, anyway, but it's complete. We have just a couple little wrap-up things, and our ball is next week, which is our big dance. That's the end of our season. And so anyway, it's been great. But that's kind of been the only thing that I've been focusing on for a while. So that's part of why we've been a while to podcast. Mm-hmm. So how about with you?
I remembered until we sat down.
You remembered what's been going on?
No, I don't. I usually write it down, and I didn't. I mean, we participated in the Heroic Youth Summit, and I honestly cannot remember anything else that's been going on other than getting ready to start school again, which we just did. We just started, a week ago. Mm-hmm. And I've been just dyeing yarn and getting ready for the next event that's coming up in a few weeks. So That's all I can
Which we will
remember.
talk about later.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. You've also been spending time out in your beautiful yard too. And
Yes. We've been doing that. We've been going and doing things as a family, like going to Lagoon, which is a local amusement park. But just all the busy summer things that everybody does.
Yep.
And just having fun.
We also got Ethan off to college, so he's back at school now and doing really well. Although he did crash on his bike the other day, and he kind of banged up his shoulder, but nothing too major. He's going to be doing some physical therapy on it, and
The car and the bike.
the car and the bike, the kid. The kid. Oh, I'm like, stay in one piece, please. So anyway. But he's doing great. He loves school. He's settling in. He's working hard, and it's going really well. So yeah, that's kind of where we are too.
Oh yeah, I cut my hair.
Yes, you did, and it's so cute.
And I dyed it.
It's really
I forgot.
cute.
It's been a while. I think I did it right after the last podcast, I think.
Pretty close.
And yesterday, day before, dyed my middle child, Ella, her hair shocking pink. It's luminescent. So it's fun.
It is
And
so bright
is
and
our
so
bathtub.
cute. Oh, I bet it is. I bet it is. Oh, fun.
Yeah, we've got to get that scrubbed out. That's going to take a while.
Magic eraser to the rescue, hopefully.
Oh, man. Yeah. So that's fun.
So one other thing that's really fun and new for me is this room. This is my sewing room, and it's done except for one tiny little thing, which you Deborah can see up there. We still have.
You mean that giant gaping hole? It's not really.
It's about this big. It's the access into our ceiling. I'm in the basement, and the access into the ceiling to get to the water, because we have to shut off the water to the outside pipes during the winter or else they freeze. And so we need to figure out some sort of like an access thing there. So right now it's just open.
Yeah, we have a hole like that in my daughter's ceiling that we were going to create like this panel that you could remove, and it's still just a hole.
Well, I figure if it doesn't get closed up by my husband in the next week or so, I'm just gonna like pin something like
crocheted
doily. I'm gonna make something patchwork and put it up there just so I don't have to look at the hole. Crocheted doily. I love it. I'm gonna crochet a doily and put it in a wooden frame. That would actually work. I might actually
take a picture.
We'll see. But this is my favorite room of the house. I love it. It's so bright and cheery and very me down here. My creative space. So that's wonderful.
You'll have to give everybody a tour sometime.
I will. Once we have the hole covered up and I'm a little bit more settled in.
For it.
Yeah, then I will totally do a tour because I really love it. It's a very small room. It's the smallest room in our house, but it's perfect. It's just what I need. And you know, the great thing about it being a really small room is there's not room for my whole family to hang out down here. One at a time.
They'll find a way, Emily. I'm just telling you.
Well, they do. Actually, Richard and Isaac like to lay underneath my table right here.
Richard lays underneath.
He likes, when he was little, he was like the nook and cranny kind of kid, you know. Yeah. That was just totally his personality. So he just lays on his stomach on the floor and like is reading and, you know.
That's not awkward. To have somebody's head there, you're like,
well, not while I'm here. Okay. Like I have a chair over in the corner.
Your sewing machine pedal is there, and you're like, watch out,
not while I'm sewing. Usually, when I'm sitting over in my comfy chair knitting, he comes and lays under.
I'm just picturing how this is gonna go. Where your foot's like.
Next time I sew, I'm gonna be like, "Come on, honey."
You want to read a book under that? Oh goodness.
Oh gracious. Okay, so today we are going to talk about knitting. Finished objects, then works in progress, then we're going to talk about some fun chatter about loving your craft, and then we're going to do sewing and shop news.
And we have a Cal in there also.
Yes, we do.
So
yes,
that's
we're going to call it can we call it a make along?
Yeah, we can,
because we're crocheting and knitting, whichever one you want. So
yes,
awesome. So let's talk about finished objects. I have some.
Okay, let's start with our
make-along great.
Then.
Perfect.
So we have just a lovely group a lovely bunch on Facebook, on our Facebook Meanwhile at the Castle podcast group, that have joined in on a make-along, and it is called the Hearth and Heart
Yes.
Cow. But it's a make-along.
It's okay. It's the cow like we like to do.
And what I love is that our friend Nikki from Clara Pogody on Instagram, she is the one that is doing such a great job of running it.
Yes, she is fabulous.
Yes, she is lovely. So thank you, Nikki. Thank you, everybody. Go love Nikki.
Yes.
And
it's Clara Peggy.
What did I say? I think I said Pogody.
But it's okay. Clara Peggy is a character from David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, which is where she got her name. So that's really fun.
So the whole idea of this is that we really loved Jules from So Sweet Violet. She had made a dishcloth called the Wondrous Dishcloth Pattern, and we just thought that was really fun, and a lot of us wanted to make some of those.
Absolutely.
And so we decided to host a make-along, but the Hearth and Home comes in, Hearth and Heart. Am I getting that right? Nikki, could you help me with that?
I'm going to pull that up right now. Let's see.
Nikki's the one that had the brilliant idea. Okay.
This is called the... Oh, wait.
Okay. The whole idea is that you get to post a story about a great memory shared with family. Great if it's like with your mother or aunt or grandmother or anybody in the kitchen. Share that along with your work in progress or your finished object as you're making a washcloth. You don't have to do the Wondrous Dishcloth pattern, though a lot of us are. You can do whatever one you want. You can knit it. You can crochet it.
Well, and I think Nikki even was weaving some dish towels.
Yes.
She does her amazing alchemy blankets. She weaves, and she's just so fantastic. And so she... Pretty much anything like that you can include. In fact, if you were going to sew an apron or something. So anything that kind of reminds you of those cozy and happy, heartwarming times, you can share. And it's the Heart and Hearth cow. Okay. There we go. We got it.
Nikki was probably like screaming at the screen the whole time, like, Deborah, you did it wrong. I'm sorry.
She was screaming it in like a really friendly way. Like,
yes, because she's not like that. She's not like me. She's not.
Whatever. So this goes through September 30th, and you join by going to our Facebook page and sharing anything like that you are making that might remind you of happy kitchen or cozy hearth memories. And you
can find that in the events section of it, because we're hosting it in the events section.
We have a bunch of dishcloths that we're making.
Why don't you show yours?
So these are both Wondrous dishcloths, and I made them two completely different ways. So this one is a worsted weight one, and I made this from, what is that? Sugar and cream.
I think that's
just the really basic cotton that you can get at your craft store or even at Walmart. And so that's my first one. And the great thing about this Wondrous dishcloth, it's two-sided, but those sides are anchored to each other. And you've got a textured side and a smooth side. So you've got a scrubby side and a wipe down side. So that's really great. So that's my first one. And then my second one, here is this one. And this one is made out of a fingering weight, which is what the pattern calls for, by the way. I was just being goofy. I made it out of this yarn, which is this chunky thread, which I got at the quilting store, actually. This is by Lori Holt of Bee in My Bonnet, and she has a bunch of these colors. It's super fun. And this is a 50-gram ball, and so I can definitely get another one out of that same little ball of yarn.
That it's sport, even though it says fingering.
You're right. I think it's sport, which is good because... Yeah, I like that weight. I like it. So anyway, there's that. But can I also show you these? Because I got...
No. Okay, yes.
I got all of these too. This is the yarn that Jules actually designed this pattern with, which is the Sheep G's Katona.
Did you order those online?
And I did. I ordered them on, I think just on Webs. Because
I want to get some.
I'm pretty sure it was just on Webs. And these are little 25-gram balls, which is how much you need for one of these dishcloths. And I got 2 pinks and 2 of these. Oh,
now we
only have 1 of these.
Sorry, that's it. That one's mine. Touch the ground. 30-second rule.
2 white And 2 of these like lilac-y. Oh, I like that color. It's so cute.
I definitely
So I
need to
have
get some.
lots more Wondrous dishcloths in the works coming up. Let's see if I can find that. There we go.
Okay.
I got it.
I have made these 3, and I started off thinking I was reading the pattern and realized I did kind of my own thing. I didn't do the texture quite right. I started it in the summertime in the dark at an outdoor community movie thing, which was really fun, but it meant that I just was flying by the seat of my pants and doing something interesting. But it's still scrubby and it's great.
Yep.
And then I made the second one. Mine, I didn't get as many repeats in the pattern as it called for because mine is a sport weight, even a slightly heavier sport weight yarn, and so there wasn't quite as much yardage, but I really like it. And I finished my second one, and each ball that I used, it's 50 grams, so I'm making 2 from each one. The yarn that I am using is Plymouth Yarn Clio, and it's 100% mercerized Pima cotton, and it has 125 yards for 50 grams. And I used just kind of a charcoaly gray and kind of a, not quite duck egg blue, but just a pale blue.
Pale.
And
Fun.
so I've made, and I'm using, I think I'm using the same needles though. Yeah, I'm using the same needles that it called for in the pattern. Let's see, the needles that it calls for in the pattern are 3.5 millimeters on a 24-inch circular. I'm using these because I have them, but I think I would prefer to use a longer cable.
I am using a longer cable, yeah.
Because I just have just barely enough to turn it around and knit, and it works, but if I had another needle in the longer length, I would use it. So I might get me some at some point in time, but as of now, that's what I'm using.
It's such a fun pattern. It knits really fast. I haven't really enjoyed knitting dishcloths in the past, but I like doing this one. I think there's something about it. It's really enjoyable.
Never had any desire for some reason to make any until I saw her pattern, and then I thought, well, that's brilliant. It's thicker. It looks robust.
Right.
So I think most of it, and like the texture, it's got texture on it. It's a little more dense. So most of the time, I feel like they're a little too flimsy or floppy for me. The crocheted or knitted dishcloths, and I think that's what it is that is not my favorite about it. So I like that this is thicker.
Yeah.
I know that the pattern is available on Ravelry and on Etsy.
Yes, it is.
And we have, this is the giveaway that we have to draw a prize for at the end of the month. And this is a bag that was donated by Crafty Clegs on Instagram.
That's such a cute print.
This
oh my
is
goodness.
really cute print. You got to see the inside too. I like this.
Oh, that's cute.
Right there. And it's like a quilted batting, or not a quilted, but like a quilter's batting in the middle.
It's got a nice.
So it's soft, and then there's, now if you are allergic to lavender like I am, I'm sorry, but there's cute lavender sachets. I don't let that stop me. I still like them.
You just start sneezing soon.
Yes. And a skein of the yarn that I am using for making washcloths, so you can make your own. It's just in a different color because it matches the bag.
It's so cute. So to join that, Cal, you will go to the Facebook page, Meanwhile at the Castle Facebook group. I need to clarify that. In order to join the group, you do need to request access and answer the questions so that we know that you really mean it, basically. So
they're not hard questions.
They're really not.
They're very easy. And
but you know, Facebook groups you have to kind of protect. We want to protect that environment and keep it such a lovely and uplifting environment.
Space.
So we're careful about making sure you have to answer the questions to join us. And then you will go to that event within the group, and if you look around, you'll be able to find it. It's not hard to find. And then just post pictures and updates about what you're doing in that event.
And share a story.
And yes, we
share a
love the
story,
stories.
a favorite story from the kitchen. I have lots of them involving good food. Like canning peaches. Okay, I don't like the process of canning peaches, but I loved watching my mom can the peaches.
The best thing about canning peaches, or canning anything too, is after you take them all out of the water bath and they're all sitting out on the counter, and then you start to hear the ping, when they all seal.
Yeah, and then you start counting, and you're like, one left, and when you hear that one finally, and you're like, good, that's all of them.
It's the best.
And then if it doesn't, then you're like, gotta eat.
Actually,
those
that's the
today.
second best, because then the first best is the best is eating your home can. Well, seeing them all laid out there is really satisfying.
It is. Yeah, I have a
stuff.
friend that was just talking about the fun of canning. And I was saying, she has an interesting idea of fun. Because I don't find it fun unless there's friends with me. And that's what makes it fun. But it is satisfying having it done. It's very satisfying. So I need to have more fun like she has. Because I have peaches that should be coming. I've ordered 3 boxes of peaches and 3 flats of raspberries when they come in. So I can.
Are you gonna make peach raspberry jam?
Of course.
Peach raspberry.
Here's the problem. That's the idea. If they ever come in, and when am I going to do it? I don't know.
And if you don't eat them all before, if your family doesn't eat them all before you get to it. Peach raspberry is the jam that we grew up on. Yes. It's the jam of our childhood. It's so delicious.
And my mom made it it has peach jello. Like gelatin
she did,
in it.
yeah.
The recipe calls for that in it. And it's a slightly runnier jam. It's so good.
And I never made it with the jello in it.
I did. I've made that, and I've made another batch. And that's our favorite.
And I always learned, you know why we had peach raspberry jam? Is because the raspberries are always way more expensive. And when you can it with the peaches, it takes on most of the raspberry flavor, only with less seeds.
Yep.
And it was less expensive because we always had peaches from family members.
Well, we had peaches and a peach tree in our backyard.
Yes. So there you go. Fun stuff. All right, moving on.
Hey, Emily.
More finished objects. I have to share this one. This is a finished object of Abby's. Now, Abby dyed this yarn, and then she knit this sweater. She is 11, and I'm so proud of her. And it is so cute. Look at that.
It is cute.
That's an In3s baby cardigan. And it's entirely her own creation. And she really wants to find a baby to give this sweater to. And I'm a little concerned because this is a non-superwash wool. But, you know, what do you do?
Maybe we'll get a good 1 or 2 uses out of it.
Anyway, but I'm just so proud of her. Didn't she do an amazing job? She did. She has a few mistakes, but she didn't let it stop her, and she just kept going. And I'm just so proud of her. So I wanted to make sure to share this, if I can hold it, this really cute little sweater that she knit.
She did a really good job.
She did. I'm so proud of her.
And her colors that she dyed.
I know.
Really cute.
She wanted to name this like Mermaid Lagoon, I think is the name of this colorway. And she dyed this a couple years ago. So
love it.
She's been holding on to it for a while. So well done, Abigail. All right, what would you like to show?
I have finished, I think I had one done last time. A pair of socks from my Festival Fizz colorway. And I did toe up. I don't usually do toe up socks. But this one I wanted to use, I was using 50 grams and I wanted to use all 50 grams. So it was divided into 25 grams each. And I just used a mini skein of my marshmallow colorway, which is just my undyed. Marshmallow, anything on my shop is just the undyed yarn. And I used Jules' beanie toe from her Soul Sister sock pattern, and just did a vanilla sock, vanilla stockinette stitch until I did the heel that was in the same pattern, and then stockinette stitch and did a 1x1 rib, and then I tried 2 different sewn bind offs, and now that it's blocked you really can't tell the difference between them. One was more fussy to do, and I felt like gave it a better edge with just a little less stretch, and this one has a little more stretch, so we'll see which one. But anyways,
Do you remember what the two bind-offs were called?
they were both called Sewn Bind Off
Okay.
on YouTube. So that's why I did two different ones, because I couldn't find the original Sewn Bind Off, and I found another Sewn Bind Off. So if I find them, then I can always link it. But they were both simple to do,
Great.
and I liked these. I don't know. This is just kind of a fun, crazy,
They are fun.
all over speckly color.
You said it's Festival Fizz.
Festival Fizz. I like
Cute.
because it's got some of those peachy colors and some neon greens and some teals and like just some navy blue speckles. Lots of fun colors in there.
Very cute.
And I just dropped something.
It was
Oh,
one of your...
That's what it is. Okay.
Yep, there you go. All right, so I have this pair of socks right here. And I think I may have shown these at the beginning of these. I don't think these were done last time.
No.
Okay, so I knit these out of Fuzzy Cactus yarn. And it is in the Thrift Store Bookshelf colorway, which is so
It's
perfect for
perfect.
me. These were a gift from a friend. This yarn was, and I just love it. So that's this main color. And I just was making this up as I went. I decided I wanted to do an eyelet pattern. And so I did, you know, eyelets throughout the whole leg. And then here in the foot, I kind of gradually decreased them so they kind of come to a V here in the foot. And they are imperfect, but they are great. I
Perfectly
love them.
imperfect.
And this contrast is from Molly Klein. It's Sweet Tea Yarns in the rose gold colorway. Oh, I can't hold things. Here we go. And I told you this one is, yeah, Thrift Store Bookshelf. So aren't those cute?
They are really cute.
I love these, and I'm so happy that I'm now done showing them and it's now pulling off so I can wear them.
I know 2 months of holding on to
Thrilled.
things sometimes is a bit much.
Well, I
I've
wouldn't
been-
have been wearing wool socks for the last 2 months anyway.
So true.
I would have just keeled over dead from heat if I had done that. So, but I'm thrilled with these.
I do really like knitting in the summertime because of the
do.
fact that we don't need it right then, so it's not like a rush. So instead, you can just enjoy the process, and then you set it aside, and then later you have a stash of things to wear,
Oh yeah,
to
it's
use.
like
I love it.
my Christmas to myself in the fall.
Exactly. So
when it gets cold,
I know
it's
there's a lot of
we can
people that
manage
don't like to knit in the summer because they're like, well, we don't wear knits in the summer, but
Or maybe just because they're too hot to knit.
Well, that's-
that could be the case.
knitting
too.
mohair in the summer is not fun because my hands are sweaty and sticky, and yeah, that I don't enjoy that. So let's see. Are you showing that one next?
Well, I'm just getting them on the sock blocker, which, as evidenced by how long it's taken me so far, might be a while. So
Okay,
feel
just-
free to go ahead.
No, you're good. You're
Okay, all right.
good. It's ready to go.
I'm just going to
Come
show
on.
this next one. Okay, so this is another sock that I knit this one out of that same Molly Klein Sweet Tea Yarns in rose gold.
It's so pretty.
It is
Good job,
just
Molly.
beautiful, Molly. And this is, oh, these are slightly crooked. Man, that was challenging. You gotta have a degree to put your socks on the sock blocker sometimes. Anyway, I give up. Monkey socks. This is a monkey sock. The no purl version of the monkey socks. And is there anything else about that? You can find that on nitty.com. It's a free pattern and it's super fun. I've knit this pattern several times. I've always done the no purl version, which basically all that means is if it tells you to purl in the pattern, you just knit it. So you don't end up with a whole bunch of purl bumps. And it's a really easy to memorize lace pattern, very simple, but just so enjoyable. I've like I said, I've knit it several times. So now that being said, I'm gonna say right here, I don't know if I actually follow the heel or the toe in that pattern. I use the lace pattern, but I just have my own sock like recipe in my head. So I tend to just knit that, but then just included the lace pattern, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean by that.
So I couldn't tell you.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, I
Where-
don't remember what the heel or the toe looks like, but I just did a slip stitch, heel flap and gusset, and a rounded wedge toe. And there you go. And I think I actually knit this pair first and then had the leftover, yarn and knit this pair second. But I honestly don't remember because it's been a while. But there's
Very important to know the order, Emily.
It doesn't matter in the slightest. The wonderful thing about this is my inspiration has been that we're going to talk about Jules apparently like all day today. I look at Jules and I look at Amy from Little Tailoress and their sock drawers and everything in them. Oh my goodness. They're just like, I know this is a silly thing. I covet the sock drawer. Yeah. No, it's just so like this palette of just loveliness.
You open mine and it's chaos.
Which is really okay because who cares really? But I do.
But it is really nice to open it and just
look, isn't that a lovely stack of pretty socks?
It is. It is lovely. Ooh, we should have, I think we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna need to have in our Facebook group a day where everybody can flash their sock drawer.
Oh, so that's a fun idea.
On Sundays we usually do a whip parade, which I forgot to do this week. But I think we're gonna have to do a show off all of your socks in your sock drawer.
By the way, if you haven't picked up on the fact, the Facebook group is the place to be. It's way fun over there.
I like our group. It's been busy the last few weeks, so I haven't been in there.
Same here, but it's way
we'll
fun.
Be back there.
Yeah.
Okay. I've finished. Wait, I need those sock blockers, Emily.
Okay, here.
Can you work
here you
on
go.
that?
I don't know if I can do it.
That's why I'm making you do it.
Give me a minute.
It's too stressful for me. Okay. Using from Dragon Horde Yarn in the Rewrite the Stars colorway on her
Makes me
lower
want to
fingering.
sing.
Wait, I know. On her lower fingering weight base. And this one is just so pretty. This is one that she singled out for me because she knew I always loved all of her peach colorways. She has just such pretty ones. I started showing these. I didn't have them finished last time. I had
It's
one.
not centered. But there it is.
This is the French meringue sock pattern. And let's see if we can see the texture. It's a really light cabling. It's not heavily defined. So it just creates kind of this light texture to it. I'm like, can we even see the texture?
Yeah, I don't know if this will be helpful. You can see the cables running here and here. They are really fun.
I just like how soft it is. It's not a really in-your-face kind of pattern. And look at how this spirals down the leg and the foot. I think that's really fun. This turned out really fun. And I do like this texture because it gives it kind of a thicker, cozy feel to it. So that's the second time I've knit this pattern. And I was making these for me, but they're actually a gift for my daughter now. She's claimed these.
Which one?
Ella.
Perfect.
Because she was next on the list. And now my girls, we all wear the same sock sizes, apparently. So I can just make them all essentially the same, which is good.
That's how my girls are, and I.
Yeah, so that makes it a little bit easier. I don't have to figure out who's it gonna fit, and everybody's feet, they just keep growing and growing, and so they grow out of them so fast. And now it's well, it doesn't matter if they grow. I can keep wearing them.
There you go. Perfect.
So, there is my second pair of socks finished.
Nice.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. So I'm not going to put these on the sock blockers, but here you go. I have a little pair of ankle socks. And this is also Dragon Horde yarn. But I honestly can't remember the colorway.
Is it the Unbirthday? No, that one's not the Unbirthday.
I don't think so. But I can't remember. It might be. It's one that I've had for some time, and I just keep holding on to it. You know when you have that skein that you love, and you're like, oh, I'm going to knit that. No, I'm going to save it. And finally, I just thought, this is dumb. I want to use this. So I did. Anyway, and they're little shorty socks, and I've got plenty left to do something else fun with. And that is all. And that's the end of my presentation.
Now you have to tell the story.
Well, that's just the thing that Isaac says. He'll just be like talking to you about something like, oh, I need to go to the store. I need to pick this up. And he'll tell you, finish telling you. Then he goes, and that's the end of my presentation. So just something we say at our house. Fun. Okay.
All right. You have a lot more.
I only have
do another
one more.
Oh, okay.
This one's not finished.
Okay. I finished. This is a very simple pattern, but I always insisted on doing it at the worst times, making a simple pattern not simple. And I had to frog back or tink back my mohair lace repeatedly, which is fun in the summer because sweaty hands and just because I insisted on doing it, like whenever I was talking and visiting with friends or when I was so tired at night I couldn't concentrate. So I made a very simple thing hard. This is the I can't say, I'm sorry, shawl pattern by Christelle Nihul. That was really impressive. So, sorry. There's the shawl, and it combines a fingering weight skein of yarn and a 50 gram skein of lace weight mohair. And it starts out just striping the fingering weight and the mohair, and it has the two kind of spines on it, and then it goes into some lace panels that get slightly wider and slightly wider. And on the very end I used a contrasting or just a coordinating colorway, and I used a mini skein of my gumball mini for that, and it's kind of fun, the picos on the edge. And so I used rock candy. This is what I had left.
Oh, that was close.
Perfect. I used rock candy for the fingering weight, and I used my lime mohair for the lace. And the nice thing with mohair, because when you dye it, it's like, ooh, that's super bright, but it actually ends up really mellowing
very
out.
Soft.
Yeah.
This is so light and airy.
It is.
It's just dreamy.
It's really light, but it's also really warm.
Yeah.
So I like the depth of this. I really love the shape. So it's a crescent shaped shawl, but it has plenty of length and plenty of depth, because that's one of the things I always want, more depth to it, so I have more options for wrapping.
But you also want the length, because when you have just like
wide,
a half circle shawl, it would only be like this big.
So it's really deep, but not long enough to wrap and drape
this is
around.
Gorgeous.
So
I think
I'll put some pictures in here.
Probably gonna have to make this.
I'll put some pictures in here of my daughter wearing this. She's lovely.
Beautiful.
So it is almost warm enough for me to wear this. Almost warm enough.
Getting there. I actually wore a shawl to church on Sunday, and I was really glad I had it because the air conditioning was still on. So it was just...
And it was cool, a cooler day.
And so, I definitely needed something. But not a whole sweater. Oh, that's so pretty.
I'm just seeing the picos that are cute.
The picos are so cute. Are the picos in the pattern, or is that
the
your
picos
addition?
are in the pattern.
Cool.
They're in the pattern.
But just not the contrast.
Yeah, it doesn't call to use a contrasting mini. Mm-hmm. And I did that because the yardage on my fingering is slightly less, and I wanted to have just a little bit. And I thought that I would do this entire last section, but in the end I decided I just wanted a slight, just barely a little peak of different color there.
That's really fun.
So I liked making that one. I did like making it. I'll tell you. I just was silly in choosing when I was working on it. But I did really like making that one.
Well, it's so pretty. All right.
Okay, here we go for the masterpiece.
My sweater is finished.
It is glorious.
This is the back. Here, Deborah, help me hold this out, because it's
a
big old sweater.
Like this?
It's a big old sweater, but it is amazing.
It is.
I love it. Look at that. That's the back.
It's beautiful.
And then the sleeves are done. You know, it's blocked. It's done. It's done, done, done. Everything's woven in. And I have to show the pockets because the pockets are glorious. The construction of this, just how this cable comes down here and then it splits off and goes this direction and ends up the top of your pocket. I mean, here, in fact, if I can show that a little closer. Like, oh, she's a genius. Joppe Locatelli, she's a genius.
Ooh, that's a nice pocket.
It is a nice big pocket. I love the pockets. They have their stockinette in the back, so you can see that. And it's one of those things where if I just read the pattern, I would think, what on earth does she want me to do? But if you just do it, it works out. So you just trust the pattern.
Going. Yeah.
Anyway, I have finished it. It's going to be my coat, basically, I think, because I don't really wear a coat in the winter.
And with all the cables, it gives it
so
some
cozy.
Nice warmth and cushiness.
Yes. And it's just open. Anyway, I love it. Here, I'll put it on.
Beautiful.
And it's glorious. Get situated here. But there it is. It's fantastic. Isn't it amazing? I love it so much.
That is nice.
And the sleeves are just a teensy bit shorter than I think I would like them. I kind of wish I had, in fact, we'll see. They're probably going to still grow. This is superwash yarn.
And you haven't
So I'm going to give it,
anything?
I have, well, I mean, I just washed it and blocked it.
Okay.
But I haven't really worn it, you know. But if they continue to feel a little short, I will undo the bind off and just add another, you know, maybe inch. Because, you know, it's like this kind of shortness. I'd like it to be more down.
Okay.
But it's such a tiny little amount that I think it's probably going to grow just fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it. I don't know for sure that this style of this drop shoulder is really my favorite on me. I mean, I did talk about that when I first was knitting it. And you get all this extra kind of this right here, you know, in your armpit. But I also don't think it's big enough of a deal for me to have wanted to not knit this
not a
gorgeous
deal breaker.
pattern. Yeah, it's not a deal breaker, but it's just not my number one favorite cut for me. I see lots of people who wear it and it looks stunning, but anyway, I'm still super proud. I still think this is the most amazing thing I've ever made.
It is.
And I think I said it's the All of the Lights pattern by Joppe Locatelli. I knit this in Yarnbrary in the Sonnet colorway. Apparently I am shedding because there's my hair. This specific base is not my classic DK base because I had bought some other DK that I was trying out to see if I was going to carry and decided not to carry it in my shop. And so I just used it for myself. So I've had some people ask me about that. And just to clarify, this isn't classic DK, but it's very similar it's just not the base that is my very favorite. And yet I still love it. So anyway, I'm just thrilled with it. I love it so much. And it's still not quite cold enough to wear this.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long are you going to keep that on?
No. Thank you.
Lovely.
There we go. But I am very, very proud of this. It's amazing. And I just am in awe of this designer. And so many designers who I would never, I can really picture a lot of things when it comes to design. And I have, I sew, I understand garment construction and things like that. But the ability to picture in her mind the way that this whole sweater is put together, that would never have occurred to me.
Yeah.
That,
to me, that's geometry. I never could figure out flat, interesting shapes and how they translated into a 3D construction. Even though I sew and things, I always struggled with that. And to me, that's part of it.
Well, and just even, you start here and go this direction. Now cast on this edge and move this, and then come pick up over here and go this direction, and then this way. Now put these on hold. And it's just, at one point, I think I had, I want to say 8 different individual sections on hold all at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and then anyway, just really interesting how her mind could come up with that. And it's so fantastic.
Magician.
Yeah, it does. It feels like magic.
Yeah.
It does. And I love it. And I'm thrilled with it. And I'm so happy I made it. And I want to just say, like, go do the hard thing.
Yeah.
Because
do
really,
the thing you were afraid of doing.
Yes. Because really all you have to do is the next few stitches. You don't have to know the whole thing from beginning to end. You can just follow along and try that next little piece and then the next little piece and
if you don't know how to do that one part, go into a local yarn shop and ask for some help. Look on YouTube. You can always find somebody on Instagram that knits that I'm sure will help answer a question.
Absolutely.
So try the thing that scares you.
Absolutely. Because if I had read that pattern before I decided to make it, I may have not made it. But because I just decided to do it and I just started in, I learned through the whole process so much.
I tell that to my girls when they're learning like a song on the piano. My daughter Ella always wants to learn these really complicated songs that would really intimidate most people that play on the same, like the level that Ella plays, because she's not, a really experienced, she still struggles to read music. But I tell her, all you have to look at are these notes right here. Just learn those, learn that measure. Top hand only, learn that measure. And then learn the bottom hand, that measure only, until you have that down and put them together. Then move on to the next measure. You don't have to do the entire song at once. And she's learned a lot of really complicated songs that way. So just breaking things down to a bite-sized, manageable piece, I think helps a lot.
Absolutely. And you really can make pretty much anything. I feel like after making that, and I think I've already said this, I can make anything if there is a pattern for it. If the pattern is written, I can make it. And that taught me that, which I don't know that I would have thought that before. So, cool. Do you have any other finished objects?
That's all my finished knitting.
Great.
Okay.
So let's go on to works in progress, which I have only 2. So
I've got a handful right here. I'm working on one. I'm working on one right here. Here we go. La, 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 la. I love this one. I love this one.
So cute.
Okay. You have to see my cute little Bert stitch marker. This is from the Jolly Holiday set of Bert and Mary cupcakes from Mary Poppins. I got these from Amanda at Little Bitty Delights. So I had to put it on here because this is a pair of socks from my carousel colorway. So come on, cute. Bert and Mary on the carousel socks. So this pattern is the Francis sock pattern, not yet released, from Emily, and I wanted something with just the slightest stitch, like texture, but not anything that was going to distract from the yarn. But also you want something that if you're going to put the effort in to do some sort of texture, that you notice it when you have variegated yarn. And I feel like this is just right. It worked out just perfectly. So this is what it looks like caked up, and I'm doing the heel and the toe in my Seafoam colorway. And now you have to see the bag that I'm keeping it in.
Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
Because it is such a cute bag.
Oh, it's so adorable.
And it has this magnetic closure here. And this is one that I also got from Amanda at Little Bitty Delights. Her sister made the bags, and then with it was, I have to sneeze.
It's the lavender.
Or the fluff from the mohair.
That could be too.
And in there was, in this cute little mint green box, are gumball stitch markers. Little gumdrops. Sorry, gumdrops. And they are so cute that I haven't taken them out of the bag and used them because they're too cute in this box. I know. I mean, they're meant to be used, but they're so cute in the box. So I've had the box in the bag. Anyways, I really like that. There was something else in with it too. Oh, there was a little this is another,
Oh.
my little macaron stitch. I have more stitch markers and things that I've been storing in this.
But it's
There was
all
a little
sweeties.
Notions pouch that came with it that was from Random Fandom Bags. She makes the little tea bag Notion pouches that are so cute. I have a couple of them now. So I just thought that was really cute. And so when I saw that she had those for sale, I had to jump on that right away because, I mean, all the candies, seriously. So
Adorable.
let's see if I can take this out. I'll show you. So this is where I got it from. There we go. Little Bitty Delights on Instagram. So I'm almost done.
Very cute.
Almost done.
Is that your first or your second sock?
My first sock.
Okay.
I actually need to take off my shoes right now and try this on. Because I think I'm ready for the toe.
Oh, there you go.
Might be a little awkward, so we'll see. But there we are.
Cute, cute.
Okay.
Okay, I just forgot the name of this pattern, so I'm going to hurry and look it up. So if you want to show another...
Oh, okay. I was going to try the sock on. That
Well,
could
you
have been
might
entertaining.
have to wait for just a minute.
Okay. I've got another pair of socks. I did show these last time. Yeah, I just didn't have them finished. This is this is a sock for my husband. And this is Dragon Horde yarn again on her shepherdess base, fingering base. And the color was When I Kissed the Teacher. And I'm just doing a vanilla sock, top down, cuff down, slip stitch heel, and just a wedge toe. And this is my movie knitting. So I did finish one sock. I haven't been to very many movies. There's not been time.
I know you talked in our last episode about how you like to knit your husband's socks in movies because he likes always the same colors.
The same color. He just wants the same color.
Well, and it's a big old sock too.
I know. I made it bigger because I just can't bear the thought of him wearing
strangle your leg socks.
Even though he likes that, because I feel like that's just going to really wear them out and not be great for him or the socks. So I made them slightly larger, and he put them on. He didn't even notice that I didn't make them super tight. So we're good. So here's my second one.
There you go.
I like doing the cuffs. I've done, let's see, I did 25 or 30 rows. This is 25. I did 25 rows of ribbing. I've done 30, but I think I decided 30 was too much, but 25 was just right. So I like when I have a cuff done like this much. That I mentioned this before. It's so satisfying. I don't know why, but I'm like, I just love it. Okay. So,
it's like you recognize there is a thing, an actual thing coming here from this yarn.
Yes. So when we go to movies again, then these will get picked up again, which will be in a while.
Lovely. All right. This is the progress on my sweater, on my cardigan. This is my bookworm colorway. And here's the funny thing. I don't know if you remember, but I actually knit almost an entire sweater. The May cardigan?
I don't remember.
It was a Marie Green. I think it's the May cardigan. And I did not like what was happening, and I didn't like the shaping in the sleeves. And I ended up just deciding to frog the whole thing. So here's what I did. I frogged the whole thing, and I cast this on without doing anything to my yarn. So I've been knitting this entire sweater in my crinkly, wrinkly yarn. And you know what is so funny is anytime somebody sees me knitting on this, they go, oh, I love the texture. Yeah. It looks kind of boucle. And I'm like, well, it's going to kind of go away, but as soon as I wash it. But where I am is I have completed the sleeves, the body, the rib, and it's just waiting for the trim to be picked up all the way around and knit. I've been using the base numbers from the Sparkle Cardigan by Joji Locatelli, but that one is an all over like texture kind of eyelet-y. It's a textured pattern, and I didn't want to do that. I just wanted the general shape. And so I've just been knitting it and stocking it. But here's the thing. I got to the end and I did all the bind offs, and then I tried it on, and I think all my bind offs are too tight at the wrists and at the bottom.
Oh.
So I'm going to go back and redo the bind off. And then I want to block it before I pick up for the trim, because I think this is going to make a big difference in the blocking.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to mess up and knit all that trim and then have it be ruffly or scrunchy. So it's just been kind of hibernating. But the funny thing is I pick this up and I put it on all the time when I'm like at home. I've worn it around the house just as it is, like 3 or 4 times. So it's kind of funny that it's getting some use already, because everybody needs a lime green cardigan in their wardrobe. So I am working on mine. That's just one of those things.
I don't have one.
Deborah.
I'm lacking in a lot of things, I know. And the lime green cardigan, day glow cardigan is what I am lacking. I love it though.
I really do know that is slightly ridiculous for most people, but it actually is going to work amazingly well, because it's going to go so well with navy.
It's a great staple.
It's going to go with gray. It's going to go with white, with denim. You know, it'll go with lots of things.
It will. It will be really good, actually.
So anyway, so that's one of my works in progress.
Okay. I've brought it. It's taken me 2 years to get to this point. I thought it hadn't been that long, and I went back and looked. It's been 2 years. I have started again on my fusion blanket, and this is as much as I've done.
This is going to be so amazing.
It's only going to be a baby size now at this point, because that will probably take me another 2 years to do the next 2 rows. So I've realized it's just the crochet part that I really don't like. I don't like crocheting it. And I had somebody offer to crochet the edges for me, which I don't remember even who that was, but I just feel so guilty, because how can I send somebody off with a project that is so messed up?
How is it so messed up?
Because they're all pretty much they're crocheted differently, because I was just making something up and like, oh, well, this will fit here, and oh, well, this will, and so to have somebody that knows what they're doing, then can go, why?
But here's the thing. Somebody who knows what they're doing can look at this and go, oh, well, I can tell exactly what she did here.
Well, I tried writing it down multiple times, and then I realized, well, how can I write it down when there's 8 different ways I've done it?
Just pick your one favorite and go with that.
So I think that if I finish the squares, the blocks that I have in here that are already sewn and stuffed, that will be enough for a baby blanket, and not worry about the others that I have cut out ready to go, because what I have to do next is do the blanket stitching around the edges, and then go and crochet the edges, and then go and seam it together. So it took me 2 years to get to this point that I'll eventually, maybe by the time I die.
This is the Sweet Tea Yarns label.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It's like the same as the fabric. That's so
I'm
fun.
holding this upside down. Doesn't really matter.
Well, here, let's rotate.
Here we go. It's going to be really hard. I don't think we can do it. It's too big. Okay.
There we go.
There we go. I do really love it though. It's lovely.
It's very cute.
So that's what we have so far.
I was looking at that thinking, where have I seen that recently? And that's that label. It's fun. Before I show my next project, I wanted to share something with you that I got. Actually, 2 somethings. I have done a couple of trades that I really want to share with you. So the first one was with Little Robin Cottage, and I traded with her for a project bag and some progress keepers, and I sent her some yarn, and this is the bag that I got, and isn't it so cute? Oh my goodness, I love it. This cute patchwork stripe with a canvas bottom and everything. And it's got this little pom-pom progress keeper, as well as this cute little robin zipper pull. And just a really fun, pretty lining. And then she does progress keepers as well. Let's see if I haven't taken them out of the plastic even. So first is this little bird. Oh, let's see. I don't want it to shine too much. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Sorry, Deborah.
Like enamel.
An enamel little bird. Yep.
It's very cute.
And then there is this pearl. I love that one.
Yeah.
But this is my favorite. Look at this. Oh, let's see if you can see it. This set of hexagonal stitch markers and the little bumblebee. Oh my goodness, it's so cute. Anyway, I just am in love with that. And this is Lacey, who is at Little Robin Cottage. And she has a coupon code for you that she will run to the beginning of October. And it is Queens of the Castle, all caps, no spaces. So that is 10% off everything in her shop, I believe, from now until the end of the month. So now that I have shown these to you, I am diving in and using my darling, darling bumblebees stitch markers. So cute. So there's that one. And then, oh, you guys, this is the most precious thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
I
They're
did
so
a
cute,
trade
Emily.
with the lovely, adorable, amazing Sherry Iris. And this is the bag. Look at that. These are hand embroidered. Look at that. And then look at the back. It says, "The earth laughs in flowers." Oh my goodness. And it's got this cute, I think that's a Liberty print on the inside. And she was so amazingly generous. Just unbelievably so. Let me see what else was in here. There were some little extras and goodies that were so beautiful. But also 2 skeins of her gorgeous, sparkly yarn. Look at those. This one is called Elizabeth. And this is Lydia. They're Bennett sisters. Oh, could you just die?
Those are so pretty.
Elizabeth and Lydia. Oh, I love them. So, yes, that was just amazing. So this is just precious, precious, precious to me. Sherry Iris, and she has a podcast and she vlogs, and she's just so gentle and amazing and lovely. And so I couldn't recommend her highly enough. And look at the cute little pull tabs for her little sewn pull tabs for her drawstring. Just so pretty. So I had to show those.
Very nice.
All right, I only have one more project, so what else do you have going on?
Okay. I was following Emily's something or other lead and pulling out the project that scares me.
Oh.
And that is this cardigan. And I've mentioned this before and shown it before that I've had the yarn, but I keep putting off doing it because it scares me. Because sweaters in general scare me, and then doing color work and then steeking, all of those things. I'm like, well, I can do it. So this is
Yes,
the
you
Woolen
can.
Explorer cardigan, and I got it in this Rugged Knits book by Andrea Rangel. It's published by Interweave, and I did the swatch for it. I swatched. I even did
You're
a
like
bigger.
a grown-up, Deborah.
I know, I even did a bigger swatch because I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it right because I want to enjoy it. I want to use it. So, yeah, I did a bigger swatch because I know the bigger the swatch you get, the more accurate measurements you can get. And you know what? This is spot on.
Nice.
Spot on. So I don't have to do any more swatching. So I went and got the needles because this is on the wrong size cable and I needed different. So I have at least the needles to start casting on. And I actually won't be casting it on quite yet. I have several other things I need to do. But now that I've got the yarn, I've got the pattern, I've got the needles, and I've got the swatch, I am ready to go. I've even started watching. I got it was on Craftsy. What is it now? Blueprint. A course on Fair Isle knitting and color work, doing that, and I started watching some of those to help me along the way.
Can you show us your yarns though?
Oh, I've got to show. I totally forgot. These are all Madeline Tosh, and they're all labeled one of a kind colorway. So I've got this raspberry color and a navy and a light pink, and so this raspberry will be the main body of the cardigan. This will be the darker color work, obviously. Let me pull that up again. Did I save the spot? I did. It will be the part that's kind of black here, and then the light pink will be this white.
Nice. That's going to be beautiful.
So, and I'm not doing this in the oversized. I have just enough yarn to make it slightly oversized, just slightly oversized. I would like this because I would love this to be my like outdoor camping woodsy, like, because it should be really warm. But I'm using the yarn that I have, and that's what I have. So
this is Tosh Vintage, which is their worsted weight.
And this is all yarn that my husband bought for me one year for my birthday. Like every day for a week, he brought me another, like sometimes 5 skeins of yarn, sometimes 1. And this was yarn that he got for me, and I wanted to figure out what I could do with it. And this is the perfect yardage for that cardigan.
That is so cool. Amazing.
That's what I'm making.
I think it was our friend Nikki that we were talking to who was saying that she struggles when she was it Nikki? Maybe it was Amy. I think it was Amy actually, who was saying that she's used to she finds a pattern and then she buys the yarn to go with the pattern. And so sometimes she has the yarn and she has to find the pattern, and that's when she
harder.
Struggles. So I think that there are definitely times where I have yarn and then you have to go on the hunt for the perfect pattern for that yarn, and it can become a challenge.
Yeah.
But you found something just perfect. Just
right.
All right. So this is my only current, I am been monogamously knitting on this because this, the green cardigan has just been sitting for a while, and I am knitting the Wishes cardigan by Joji Locatelli. Big surprise there. And I just love this so much. This colorway is, I've called it Serendipity, but it was a one-of-a-kind colorway that I made because after a weird day of dyeing, when I had a little bit of some issues with one pan, I had all this dye left in this pan, and there was some blue on one side and some kind of red on the other side, and it kind of swirled together, and I started seeing this plum color come up, and I grabbed some yarn and I just threw it in and I made this. But it's not something I could replicate exactly, although I love it enough, I'm gonna make the attempt to get kind of close. But I had 5 skeins and I thought I'm gonna make something for myself. So let's see if I can show this to you. It's kind of hard to show. If you would just hold this one shoulder. This is again called Wishes by Joji Locatelli, and it is a very simple stockinette stitch, but it's something where it's going to be a high-low hem, and it's very kind of A-line, like dramatically A-lined. In fact, the bottom of this is constructed almost like a shawl. And so the back is much longer than the front, and it will be quite full at the bottom and very drapey. And I would show you the picture, but first of all, it's on the screen. Oh, here's the back.
So you can kind of see
you can kind of see the increase lines here and down here. You're increasing almost like a crescent-shaped shawl.
From this point.
Uh-huh. And I would show you the picture, but honestly, first of all, it's on a screen, and second of all, the sweater is black in the photos for it, and I don't know how well it would show up. So you can go and look at that. But apparently I've snagged it right there.
Oh no.
I'll have to fix that. that looks, it's okay. That's fixable. But I'm only about 3 inches away from starting the ribbing at the bottom, which is a narrow rib. And then I will knit the sleeves. And so I'm quite close on this one. And the trim around the neckline is part and parcel of the pattern. It's very simple and it's already done. So the way you do it is just knitting and ribbing right through here. And then that ribbing kind of scrunches in together and just creates the edging. So it's very simple. I am alternating skeins, which I would definitely need to do with this because the skeins do have quite a bit of variation in them, as you can tell. It's actually, I think it's showing up on the screen looking a little bit more stark in the variations.
Yeah.
It's definitely softer in person. It doesn't look quite so stripy. It's a softer variation, but I think just with our lighting it's showing up that way. But I'm thrilled for this. And it seems like everything I've worn in the last like 2 weeks while I've been knitting, I thought, oh, this is going to go with this outfit. Oh, this is going to go with this outfit. So that's a good sign. So I'm really loving that. And it's really kind of funny that I have been such a monogamous knitter. When I was knitting on this sweater, I pretty much just knit this. And now I have put that down for a little bit. But I've just been knitting this. I mean, I cast this on, 2.5 weeks ago or something? Yeah. And I mean, this is a fingering weight, lots of knitting sweater. So I've just been zooming.
You're doing fantastic with all
Look at this.
Your
Look at all these sweaters.
And cardigans.
And I have my next sweater planned too. I know what I'm making next.
You're inspiring me, Emily.
Well,
I really want to work on mine now.
I just want to knit sweaters. I like them not. I have other things that I need to actually cast on and work on. But I only want to knit sweaters. It's just sounds like so much fun to me. So
that sounds great. I think that's just fine. Wait, you had one other. Yeah, you had a finished project.
Oh, I do. And I'll have to put photos in. I finished my crocheted wall hanging. And I love it. It turned out exactly like what I wanted. So last time I showed it, it was just the crochet part. But since then I have mounted it and I have put the fringe on and the tassels that I was planning. And it was all, I mean, I had a picture from Pinterest that inspired me to get the basic look of what I was going for. But I didn't have any sort of a pattern or anything. And so I just went for it. I measured out the space that I wanted it because I made it so it would cover up the circuit breaker box that is in my sewing room here. And I measured out how big I wanted it and I just started messing with things and it was super fun to make. I had such a good time making it.
It's a very macrame look.
It does. It looks very macrame, very trendy, I think, and cute and me. It's hard to get a picture in this room. I may have to take it out because this room is so blue, as you can tell, that and the yarn is a natural, like undyed color, and so it looks dingy on the camera, but it doesn't in person. In person, it looks great. It just is kind of dingy on the camera. I kind of almost want to rotate the tripod, but I think we'll never get it back to where it is.
It was a challenge getting this stable.
So I'm not going to mess with it, but I will get some photos or some video and share that. So hopefully you're already actually looking at it right now. But anyway, it turned out great. I'm super thrilled with it. And I don't have any plans to make a pattern. Somebody had asked me about that. I really just don't. I'm just going to have enjoyed making it for what it is and be proud of it. So anyway, I am really thrilled with it.
All right. We're going to have a little chat about loving your knitting and loving what we do here.
I'm going to say loving your craft, even whatever, if you're a crocheter or quilting or whatever it is that you're doing. We were talking to some friends and we were all kind of saying that sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the social, I don't know what the right word is, so the social media side of wanting people to approve of what you're making and losing track of what made you fall in love with making in the first place. And just wanting, you know, or maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's just that you have 10 whips and you don't know what to work on and you kind of feel blah about it. Or, you know, there's lots of different reasons that sometimes we kind of feel like we're falling out of love with our craft. And so I was sharing this in this conversation, and Deborah said, will you talk about this on our podcast? So I want to tell you my story. I have mentioned this probably briefly in the past, but in 2013, I was at a place where I had been working so hard on a variety of projects to the point where I had worked myself into very poor health. And one of the things that had contributed to that was my writing. And I loved writing. Writing was my creative outlet. And it was something that I felt like I was doing just for me. And while I think that there are times where we worry about doing something just for ourselves, we feel selfish about it. We all know we need some kind of a place where we're doing it just because we enjoy it. And it's not all because it's some part of some great good or, you know, something like that. So writing was really my thing. But in 2013, I had just finished writing the book A Light in Dark Places, which I've talked about on this podcast. It's the book that I co-wrote with Jennifer Graves, who is the sister of Josh Powell. And if you're familiar at all with the case of Susan Cox Powell and Josh Powell, you'll know that that's a very difficult topic to have been writing about. And I'm so proud of that book. I am so extremely proud of that book, and so really humbled and honored that I got to be the person to write that book. But it was really challenging. And that year, 2013, that our book was released, we had this huge launch party and news coverage and just all kinds of stuff was going on with it. And we had I can't remember which one of the Osmonds. I've completely lost track of the Osmonds, but
what is his name? He's a fantastic singer.
He's amazing. Anyway, we had one of the Osmonds who came to our launch party and did some music for it. I mean, just amazing stuff. And working with Chainbreakers foundation here in Utah, which is an organization to fight domestic violence. Anyway, just good things happening. But I was so burned out and sick. And at one point I was just really having talks with God and saying, I know I have to cut things out because of how ill all of this has made me. So what can I be replaced as? And I knew I couldn't be replaced as the wife to my husband and the mom to my children. And really I couldn't be replaced at that time in my work with Heroic Youth. But as a writer, I could be replaced. Other people, there's a million writers out there who are better than I am, honestly. And this is not to belittle myself, and I'm hoping I'm not getting too rambly with this. I'm not trying to say, because I know everybody has a unique voice, but I knew that I needed to let that go and that it would be okay. That the world would continue on and would be okay. But I couldn't, let go of my health and my ability to raise my children. But I was really upset about this fact because I wanted to hold on to that. I wanted something that could be my creative outlet, that's something that could be just mine, that would help me to feel, I don't know, I just needed something. So while I'm in the midst of all of this kind of upheaval and illness, I spent a lot of time just in bed, a lot of time in bed. And while I was doing that, I decided to learn to knit. And Deborah had taught me before how to cast on, how to purl, how to knit, and how to bind off.
Just the most basic, most basic.
And in fact, I think our cast on was a backwards loop cast on. That was the cast on that I knew, which is no fun to knit a first row on.
No, it's miserable.
It's awful to knit a first row on a backwards loop cast on.
I don't know why. That's the only one I knew.
Well, because it's very simple to do. It's an easy cast on to learn. But anyway, that's what I knew, and I crocheted a lot. And so I did have that ability And so therefore I kind of understood how to read a pattern and some basics. But I ended up teaching myself to knit by picking out a simple pattern, which was, by the way, the In3's baby cardigan. And then just watching YouTube tutorials. Anytime I found something in the pattern and I didn't know what K2 tog meant, I would go into YouTube and say K2 tog knitting. And I would find a video and I would watch it and then I would duplicate it, and I just taught myself to knit. And I quickly, as we all know, became kind of the big thing for me. What is really interesting to me is it wasn't until a couple of weeks ago, maybe even 10 days ago, that all of a sudden it popped into my head. I have felt guilty in a lot of ways for letting writing go in my life. It didn't go immediately. It kind of trickled out over another year and a half's time. But I have felt like, I don't know, it's guilty or less than, or like maybe I was squandering this talent and I wasn't doing what I was supposed to. Anyway, but about 10 days, 2 weeks ago, all of a sudden it just popped into my head. I had been praying and saying, I still need something for me. I still need a creative outlet. But this writing thing is just a lot of time and a lot of stress. It was very stressful. And God gave me knitting. And I am ridiculously sentimental when it comes to knitting. Like, I tear up thinking about what my life would be like if I didn't have it. And so when it's easy to get maybe caught up in whether you're knitting the latest, designer, or with that perfect designer yarn, or, whether you know how to brioche or not, or whatever it might be at the time, or whether people like your projects when you post them on social media. Whatever that is, that it can be easy to get caught up in.
Or if you don't photograph it perfectly.
Right.
Or you're not doing something that's, I think you already said that, like trendy, or
if you're not making money from your craft. Because let's face it, a lot of us do have businesses, and sometimes it feels like, like with my wall hanging, I just made that up. I should make a pattern. I should sell this pattern, or, whatever it might be. To let that go and to remember, what is it that made you start knitting in the first place, or crocheting or quilting or whatever it is that you love? What is it that got you into this in the first place? There's a reason you do this, and it's not because of outward accolades or recognition. It's because for whatever reason we found something that feeds our hearts and our souls. And I know that's what knitting is for me. It's a gentle place for me. Okay, here I go. I'm like getting all emotional about it. I live a life that has a lot of stress in it, as we all do. And knitting is the one place where I feel completely at ease. Unless I start to get in my own way. If I start to get in my own way, then I can start to feel the stress, and I can start to feel worry or overwhelm. And if I don't get in my own way and I just enjoy the stitches, and I even wrote a poem about it. So I've said it before. I've said this poem before, but here it is again.
Let's hear it.
Rhythm in my needles, click, click, click. Wool through my fingers, flick, flick, flick. Rows of perfect stitches, all in line. Stacks of finished objects, mine, all mine. Just enjoy it. Have a good time. Yes. What is the thing that you want to make that maybe somebody else would not understand why you would want to spend your time on it? Or what is that perfect skein of yarn that you're holding because you're worried about using it because it's not the perfect project?
Or are you worried because you feel like you have to use specific types of yarns and that you can't use the budget yarns that make beautiful things, or we're just worried about different things.
Yeah.
What made you start? What was your inspiration to start doing what you're doing? I mean, if you want to, you can share that with us. You can share that in our Facebook group, or you can share it in the comments below, and just kind of like fall in love again if you need to with your craft.
Yep.
Like, we give you the permission to do what you're doing just because.
And just
for
love
fun.
it.
Yeah.
And just love it. And you know what? I think that some of my favorite people to follow on like Instagram and other places are people who don't have business. I love to follow people with businesses. It's not like that's a negative, but I'm saying that that's not just a selling point for me to follow them on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I love to follow people who are just loving knitting and just making things that make them happy and sharing their photos, even in bad lighting, and talking about how happy it makes them. I love it. So let's bring more of that. I think that's great.
I love that. Okay.
Great. There we go.
Okay. Let's step off of that soapbox now and let's move on to... We just want to bring some light into the world.
I know. You know that I used to have a license plate frame that my husband bought me that said, "Have soapbox, will travel."
I remember.
So,
I love it.
you know, this is a personality thing. It's not going anywhere.
All right. We
I
have some sewing to show you today. Do you want me to grab those?
No, they can just stay on there.
Okay.
I don't need it right now. I'll go with it.
Okay. We have been working on lots of different sewing
Actually,
things.
I lied. I do want you to pick those
I was
up.
going to say, didn't you want to show those?
Yes, I really should.
Okay. Oh, my earring is hitting the
Thank you.
table. Okay. All right. Do you want to start with your sewing with something?
Sure. So having a sewing room, again, suddenly means I want to sew everything. It's so fun. Get it? What I did did there?
I totally got that, Emily. That was pretty amazing.
Okay. So one day I'm just trying to decide what to start with. I'm going to start with this. So the first thing I made was a new apron. We've talked about aprons on the podcast before. This is my new one. I'm not going to put it all the way on. But here it is. It's got this
Very
cute print
cute.
and the pocket and the ruffle. And it's reversible because on the other side it has the green print and the blue pocket. Isn't that fun? This is my favorite apron pattern. And I totally stole it from an apron that I bought at a store somewhere and then just copied. So, and I put this cute little vintage trim. Did I put trim on both sides? I put just some rickrack on this side, but then I put this little vintage trim here on this side. So that's my new apron.
Very cute.
That was very fun.
I really need new aprons.
I know my others were getting so ratty and nasty.
That was mine. Like I went through a phase of apron making all at the same time, made a million aprons, and I was just realizing the other day, like one by one I've had to get rid of them, and I'm down to one last ratty apron for my kitchen, and I wear an apron all the time. So I have one in my sewing room and one for my kitchen and one for dyeing yarn. I used to have multiples, but now I've just got the one in the kitchen, and so if that's dirty, I need to wash it, then I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I have two aprons out in my dye studio, but they are both just really basic and covered in dye, and I just bleached them. So they're not cute ones.
So that's cute, Emily. I like your aprons.
What else? What do you want to share?
I shared last time about some pajama pants. We had this discussion about pants and trousers and
pajama bottoms or pajama trousers.
Yes. And I made another pair. I was using the Berta style pattern. I used View E, and I made them cropped because I wanted some for summer. And I liked this pattern because it had pockets. Because we all know that when we're sleeping, we really need pockets. But I just feel like there is a shortage of pockets in women's clothing that I need to have them no matter what.
And who says the pajama pants? Oh, listen to the thunder.
I'm sure you can hear it on there.
Yeah, who says pajama pants are just for sleeping?
Exactly. I don't.
For you, they mostly are.
I don't wear pajamas around, but these, I mean, come on.
Oh my goodness, they're so cute.
Well, I made them cropped, but I made them with this really nice, I love the quality of this cotton fabric. It's like...
Oh, it's very nice.
But it's kind of a little bit heavier weight quilting cotton. And so it didn't fall nicely at that length. So I ended up unstitching, this is where the fold line was, unstitching it, letting down the hem and adding a double, like, not quite cuff, but just thing on the bottom. What's the word?
A thing.
It's escaping my mind.
That's the right word.
So this is actually going to be better for winter time.
Nice.
Because in summer you want things that flow and drape and, you know, and in winter I like the more crisp. That's what it is. This is like the crisp feeling of new sheets. I love that.
I just got new sheets this week.
I'm not one for like flannel sheets.
No, or microfiber.
No, I want, when I get in, I want that smooth feeling. I love that. So these are saved for winter time.
And look how cute that is, the contrast waistband and the contrast pocket.
This, totally, I was inspired by Amy, Little Tailoress. She posted a picture of hers that she had made several months ago, and I'm like, that's it. I need to have cute things like Amy has. And so
I think that's kind of how everybody who sees Amy's, I need cute things because Amy has them.
We were just talking about not being stressed about following everybody else's
just don't be
things.
stressed. Just be inspired.
So I was just inspired, and I made cute things. So now
oh, pretty.
I have that pair.
That's really fun. So when I first moved in here, like the second day the second day I was in, I just found a flaw.
In your sewing room?
I just found a flaw. Look at that.
Don't point it out.
I have to fix that. Anyway, I pulled out this quilt, which has been pieced and quilted for, I think, almost 3 years, because I'm pretty sure I showed this in one of our earliest episodes of our podcast when we were talking about quilts.
Oh, that would have been like episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bound it. It hadn't been bound. I even had the fabric and everything. So I pulled it out and I bound it.
Let's see.
Isn't that the cutest? With these cute little prairie points. Isn't that fun? So that is going in my stash of things to be put aside for future grandchildren. And I am really looking forward to that. You know how you test it, right?
You have to like, oh. Just right.
It's perfect. It'll fit a baby. Anyway.
That's cute. That's cute.
So isn't that just fun? And now I just went, oh, I have to make all the quilts. I have to make all the quilts.
Right now, there is a quilt show that we go to every year. Yeah.
Oh, the rain is coming in.
You were going to go today. We were going to go.
Yes.
And it ended up not working out, which is sad.
I'm hoping to still go next week before they close.
Yeah,
so.
I hope you do. Okay. Speaking of quilts, this is actually Nadia's.
Oh,
my youngest daughter.
So fun.
In our church, her youth group leader just had a baby, and Nadia wanted to make a baby quilt, and so I told her just to go through all the fabrics that I had and pick out fabrics that she liked, and she picked out these fabrics.
Oh,
and
it's so cute.
It's ready to be quilted now. So don't poke your finger on any pins on the edges, Emily.
Okie doke, I got it.
So it's an interesting assortment of fabrics, but you know, when you get it all together, honestly, it's
super
fun.
cute.
It's fun. I mean, I would never have paired some of the things that she paired together, but I feel
That's
like
part of the charm.
Exactly. It's a scrappy quilt. She went through all the scraps, and what I love is that she went through and thought of each one and thought, this is one that my leader would really like. And so that's what she was doing. She
So
especially thought, this is one that she's going to like. She was really excited about this one. And where's the other one? Oh, I don't remember. Anyways, so that's fun. And the back is...
That's really
poke
cute.
it out. So it's all made with things that we already had in the house, including the batting for the center. And I just pinned it last night with the quilter's pins, and now I'll just stitch it on the machine.
Are you just gonna do like in the stitch in the ditch, or what do you?
I'm going to stitch in the ditch here, and then after that I will also be doing on the bias. There are guidelines, and I've forgotten them, depending on the type of batting that you have, how close you need your stitching to be. So you'll see a lot of the times people, you know, having it really wide, and it looks nice to begin with, but what happens is the batting in the center ends up bunching up and ending in the corner and falling apart. Like, it doesn't end up staying there. You need the stitching is there not just to hold the layers together, but to keep the batting in place.
Right.
And so you have to have it close enough together. And I think the furthest that you'd ever have it for like this is like 3 inches, and these blocks are 4.
Yeah, they tend to be 2.5,
Yeah.
2.5.
So if I just did the outside, especially for a baby blanket that would get washed a lot, then that would wear out very quickly. So we do need more, and I just want it to be super
One of the
simple.
things I've seen really cute with like this grid style is to stitch like this.
Yeah.
And then like that. So you kind of end up, you're kind of dividing these in thirds almost and stitching down that way.
And
in a
the
grid
other
pattern.
direction. And I am going to be really lazy on this. And this is something that will wear out a little faster, but where you
Do a rollover.
Yeah, where you trim off the excess batting and you trim distance, fold this in, stitch that down, and that becomes the binding. The reason that that's not as sturdy is because there's not as much fabric right here, and it wears through a little faster.
Yeah, your bindings are wear points because they're edges.
But I need this to be done because she had her baby already, and the way I clean my sewing room is I finish projects. And there's too many things that need to be cleaned. And so we need to finish this project and get it done.
All right, that's exciting. All right, so where are we?
Next sewing.
Okay, so this is just a very simple little thing because I just decided I am an ice water drinker, and I always have a glass of ice water. Holy cow. That storm is getting pretty crazy.
The problem is I have to go home and
I know,
and be
yeah.
outside in it in my heels.
Oh no.
That's okay.
We can open the garage so you can go through there. It'll get you
Okay.
closer. But anyway, I just made some little coasters out of some scraps from that quilt I showed you. And they're just so fun. It makes me so happy to just have these simple little
cute
things like
little things
scattered
that-
around in here when I'm have a drink. Plus, I got my new cup. Look how cute this is.
Those
Pioneer
get
woman.
those together with that.
Pioneer woman
These
for
are
the
like-
win. They're like the perfect thing, aren't they?
It looks like you have a theme going.
Gee, brightly colored flowers.
Love it.
Who knew?
They have an orange one, or I had one from this line. That was
I do.
orange.
It's in my quilt too, actually. It's
like
this
that
one
one.
right here.
That's fun.
Yep. And I think there's a floral one too.
Yeah,
there's that one. No, that's it.
I have one.
Like this.
Yeah, that's
in that orange. Yeah.
Or I had one back. when I
Anyway,
had it.
but that's pretty fun. All right.
I have costumes
All right.
for Heroic Youth Summit that we had talked about. It's loosely based on medieval wear, but interestingly enough, that's a wide span of time as well as location, and so it's just I'm just saying, nothing is historically accurate in any way, shape, or form.
And we don't care about that at all. We're creating an ambiance. That's all it is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just about
And
giving
so
a
everybody
mood.
wears a costume, and my daughter this year, it was her turn for a new costume, and she didn't want to wear a dress. Because you do a lot of running, and it could be rainy, it could be muddy, it could be hot, it could be
97 degrees.
Could be,
like
so
it was.
she wanted pants, but we talked about doing like really wide leg flowy pants, so it's kind of like a skirt. So we did that, made her some pants, and then she wanted like an underbust corset to go
Look how
with
cute
it.
that is.
And she picked out this fabric, which is a stretch.
I can't believe you
Which
managed
is
this.
tricky for a corset that needs to not have give. So I did a fusible interfacing. I was like, what is the word? Interfacing to that, and then backed it with a stiffer fabric, and then it has a lining with a woven, not a knit. And this is the fabric that her pants were that she picked. So
And
very not medieval.
It's not a knit. It's just a stretch,
stretch,
cotton. Like
yes.
it's got lycra or something in
And
it, right?
there's boning channels in this. So I have to say, corset type things are probably one of my least favorite things to make. I don't like making costumes unless they're my own, because people that I make them for are like, no, it has to be exactly like this, and it needs to fit exactly like this, and it needs to, and like so many restrictions that I can't enjoy the process. I'm like, there's no creative process for me. It's just be your slave.
It doesn't even feel like sewing. It feels like construction.
Yes. So I don't enjoy that part of it, but my daughter was happy with it. This is the pattern I used for the underbust corset by Simplicity 1091, and I did the view C. And it looks like it's this corset with a vest attached with a hood. It's not. They're separate pieces. And yeah, that's the one that I made. And we ended up doing bias binding on the top so that it could have just a little bit of contrast between the corset and the shirt that she was wearing. And so it like tie it in with the pants that she was wearing. Also made it really easy to finish, because then all I had to do was, once I sewed the boning channels and slid those in, we just finished it off with that, and it made it really easy. I will say we have a grommet press, which makes this really fast, but they're not sturdy. They don't hold up. They pull out of the fabrics really easily. So hand sewn eyelets, they take more time, but they, for longevity, are always the way to go, because I have a lot of different costumes that use these, and they're pulling out all over the place, and there's really not a way to fix that. I mean, you rip it out, make a bigger hole, and then go sew it in by hand. All of them, or just one, and then that one will stand out. So I didn't have the time.
Especially for when you have 3 areas of lacing instead of just one. So it's triple the number of eyelets you would have to do.
It worked for what she was doing, and she loved it, loved it, loved it.
Well, and it's not like she's wearing it every day either.
No.
So even though it doesn't have the same durability,
she'll wear it for 3-4 days once a year, this year and maybe next year.
Right. Or maybe even want a different costume next year.
Well, she doesn't get one next year.
There you go.
It's not her turn.
There you go. I know what you mean. Show this one too.
Okay, so I made for myself, I have different costumes, but I needed a different piece this year. Oh, I should lace this up. That's okay. So I just made myself, and I don't even know the name of the type of garment that it is. It's not really a corset. It's not quite a vest. There's a name for this.
It's a bodice, basically, or something like that.
I wanted something that was super colorful. So this looks kind of French, like
it does,
from Belle from Beauty and the Beast time period. And then I snuck in this little bright color that nobody would ever see but me, so I'd be wearing it. But this was a remnant that was slightly less yardage than the pattern called for, to lay it out on something that had it was a border print. But I loved it so much, and there was no more anywhere, that I figured I would make it work. So I cut out these 2 panels, and then there was a side panel, and then there wasn't enough for the back on the border, so I cut out some of just the plain fabric and cut out the scraps that were around this and appliqued them on to the back so that I could still use that fabric, because I really liked it. I would never
have even thought of doing that, Deborah. So you're just a genius.
You can see how I've done that. I just zigzag, close zigzag all the way around, and it was really cute. I had to make a lot of adjustments because my waist is like 3 sizes larger than the bust would be. So I had to make a smaller bust, larger waist.
Well, they're really shaped like this. I mean,
yes, and I'm shaped like this, and they're shaped like this. So I had to adjust that. And so I'm glad it actually worked out, because it doesn't usually work out for me.
Well, it's so cute.
It was fun.
There's so much noise going on upstairs. I don't know what's happening.
Something's happening.
They're moving furniture or something.
The pattern that I used is this butterick pattern.
Hopefully they stop that soon.
I made this pattern, but adjusted the front to come down into a V. So I needed to cut these panels into a V and adjust the sides to match up. And then down here I had to take away
So it's kind of the waistline from this one,
Yes.
but with the rest of it from this one.
Yes.
That makes sense. That's really cool. So, I want to show the...
Oh, wait, I have to show off my eyelets.
Do show off your eyelets.
I was smart this time, and I hand stitched the eyelets for these so that it would hold up, and it also just kind of disappears into the embroidery instead of standing out like the metal grommets would have done.
That's really awesome.
And it really doesn't take a ton of time.
Can you reach that spiral bound notebook behind you right there? That one?
This one?
Uh-huh. Thank you. I have to share. I hope this is where I put things. Yes. Okay. I wanted to share the dress that I made for Abby for Summit. And I wanted to show, I'm going to just cover that up. This right here, let's see. You can see that? That is the picture she drew, and she said, this is the dress I want. And then I drew this picture to kind of double check that that's what she was looking for. And she said yes. So we're just gonna have to insert a picture of her dress here because I'm realizing it's upstairs and not pressed, so it won't do you much good. But that was really fun because she got to design her dress. And I wanted to make her something much frillier.
And she wanted it
she wanted it much simpler.
And she picked out the fabric and the trim,
Everything, yeah. She picked out every single piece of it and said exactly how she wanted it and where she wanted the waistline.
So just what she wanted.
Loved it. She has been thrilled with it. So there was that one. And then this year, I needed to make Richard a new costume because his old costume is a little snug for him this year. It was a little snug for him last year. And maybe the year before that too, but we finally were like, okay, the time has come. So I made him what I guess I'm going to call a doublet. It's not really a full doublet, but it was this pattern here. So this Simplicity 4059. And it's the same pattern I made him before. And I also made the shirt, although I didn't put this collar on it. We just did kind of a stand-up collar. And we'll put some pictures in there of how he looked too. So I don't think if anybody had, if we hadn't said anything, I don't think people would have noticed he had a new costume because it was very much kind of replicating the one he had in the past. But it was just fit him so much better. And I've learned a lot about sewing since I made the first one. And it's just finishing was so much better. So I'm really, really proud of that. And I always stress about, like you were saying, when you're sewing costumes for other people or just sewing for other people in general, there's kind of this expectation of, well, I wanted it exactly like this. And and my husband is, that's just his personality. So I was like the whole time going, he better appreciate this. Because I was, and he did. He was so happy with it. Good. And he was pointing out to other people, yes, look at this and look at that. And I know he was doing that specifically to make me feel happy and good. And that's wonderful. So I'm really glad. Anyway, so those were costume sewing. And this is the last thing I have to show with sewing. I have started making,
Uh-oh. Do you have a charger?
I do, but I'm just about done. I think we're almost done, aren't we?
Yeah, we do have our shop news.
Okay. Yes. Let's see how we do. Okay. I am making this quilt, which is something. It's a quilt called something, but now I don't know where I put that. I bought this quilt kit. This is called the Lone Star Sawtooth Variation Crib Quilt. And I'm not sure who the designer is. It might have just been something made. Let's see. Amy Smart, Diary of a Quilter is the one. This is a tutorial that she made. But I bought this kit at my local quilt shop. And this is the center of it. My local quilt shop is called Pine Needles. Here we go. And it's just a big star. So this is really simple so far. And then these fabrics are called the Edith Ferry line, and it's a Riley Blake line. And the next piece is I have all the little squares cut out to make this sawtooth edge border that goes around it here. And it's really fun. I really love these fabrics. They're just, I don't know if you can see, but there's little fairies here. And this one, it looks like little fairy lights.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
And there's this cute floral print here. And just some gentle polka dots right here. And little floral wreaths. So it's just a really fun, sweet baby quilt, which I think really is kind of my speed right about now with quilts. I'm enjoying that. Very simple, pieced it and cut it out and pieced it in a couple of hours. So that one is really fun. And I think that is everything that I have to share. Which is great.
2 months.
I know.
Yeah, it's been a while. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. Okay, well, we better wrap up.
Yes, our batteries are getting, the battery's getting low.
Before we go, I was going to share that Stitches Salt Lake is coming up the first week of October, October 4th, 5th, 6th?
3rd, 4th, and 5th, I want to say.
And I'm vending there. I have some new collections. I have my carousel, I have my county fair collection, and it's in 2 different collections. It is the county fair rides and the county fair foods. Concessions. My brain. If it's not in front of me, I can't remember it. And I have those available on my website. I also have those at the festival, the Yarn Festival, and I have a new colorway that I am releasing today, and it is called Butterscotch, and it is such a pretty color.
I haven't seen this one.
So those are some new things, and I have kits for a lot of things in my shop, like for the shawl that I showed today. So you can go check things out. My shop, I have kept it really well stocked. Even though I am selling at the fair, I still want everybody to be able to get the things that they were wanting.
That's fantastic. So. Well done. And then I will not be having a booth at Stitches, but I will be stocked at the Knittin' Pretty booth. So our local yarn store, Knittin' Pretty, will be stocking Yarnbrary yarns, so you'll still be able to find me there, and we'll both be there.
Yeah.
And would love to have you come and talk to us and come and meet us. And then in my shop right now, I have 1 or 2 left of my September Hogwarts You're in the Hogwarts Library mystery clubs, and these 2 are this month is based on the complete published works of Gilderoy Lockhart, which
That's
is
the one I've been so excited about.
I know, and it is the one that inspired me to even do this whole club this whole year in the first place.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a club based on the books, within the books of Harry Potter, and so Gilderoy was my inspiration. So I'm so excited. It's going to include 10 10-gram mini skeins. So they're micro skeins. And
Perfect
each
for
one
socks.
will be, it'll be great for scrappy socks, and it's going to be a blast. And I will be releasing my last 10 Christmas Advent calendars on October 1st. And so those will be the last ones I have. And I've been trying my best to space them out throughout the year to make them more easily accessible to people at different times of the year. So October 1st will be my last 10 available. And those are all based on Christmas songs. And they're a lot of fun. Yay. It's a lot of fun. So other than that, once I get all of that done, I'm looking forward to the new year. I will not be doing mystery clubs most likely in the new year. I will be concentrating on doing collections again. And so I'm going to enjoy just the rest of this year with the fun things I have going on.
Okay. Well, we hope to see you again soon. Go join us in our Facebook group. Comment below on all the things that you want to comment on. And thanks for being here.
See you later. Bye.